Welcome back here to Bethel University Women's Basketball Media Day here on the Regional Radio Sports Network. And again, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. We also had a chance to interview the Bethel men's basketball team and a couple players and Coach Draven, so be sure you check that out on our YouTube channel. But right now, focused on the women's basketball team, and to my left, we've got Abby Williams, the 6'1 sophomore from Farmington Hills in Michigan. And Abby, last year, kind of first season, freshman year, obviously you're in a very competitive Crossroads League and a team that ran a little bit of a different system with the Grinnell system under the previous coach. So just tell us a little bit about what you really learned from your freshman campaign here with the Pilots.
Honestly, freshman year really taught me how to play fast and play at a college level, especially since we played the system last year. It was just full court press the whole time, so that really helped me in just being able to get out on the floor and learning how to play at that higher level.
And you talk about the fast-paced game, which the game is already at, and then you have the Grinnell system. But, of course, now the new head coach is at the helm of it, and Scott Polsgrove, and we had a chance to talk with Maya about it. But what are some of the things that he's taught you at this point, whether it's practicing or conditioning or even just life lessons? At this point, what has Coach Polsgrove taught you as in a couple weeks you guys are getting ready for that first game against Cornerstone? But what have you learned so far under Coach Polsgrove's direction?
I mean, he's got his 5 pillars he always talks about, so those are like the few things he's bringing into practice, whether that's like unity, playing together as a team, and just humility, as well as like the few others. But he's really emphasized those, just playing together as a team, communication, just playing defense and knowing how to guard everything that we play offensively in the defensive sense.
And last year, and of course, freshman year, as someone who played at the college level, I always say is just kind of like kind of get your feels for the water. And of course, with the Grinnell system, 5 points and 5 rebounds. In my opinion, that's those solid numbers, especially in a freshman campaign. So when you look back on your freshman year, and now that you look over the summer, got a chance to work and get yourself ready before stepping back on the campus here at Bethel in Mishawaka. What were the biggest things in the off season that you focused on to get yourself ready as a player to try to help the Pilots throughout the course of this season?
I think definitely just working on my own fundamentals, making sure that I'm able to finish at the rim, since I realize that I'm going to be taking on more of a post player since I'm the tall person on the team. Making sure that I have my handles down to be able to handle the ball in any way that I need to. Yeah.
I mean, and again, the reality is, as a freshman playing in 30 games, which is just absolutely incredible for any freshman to step into that role. And of course, and we talked about this a little bit, but in a very competitive Crossroads League where you go up against teams like Marion, who was finished 4th in the country, Indiana Wesleyan, who finished 12th. When it came back to playing in the Crossroads League, and I will always argue that it's the most competitive league in the entire NAIA. What were some of the biggest things, or what was your overall experience about competing in the Crossroads League?
I mean, honestly, I really enjoyed it, especially like being recruited around at different schools and seeing the different styles of play, just being able to play together as a team. I actually forgot the question.
No, it basically just, the Crossroads League, always competitive in any sport, and of course women's basketball is no different.
Oh, yeah.
Marion always has a national tournament team, and Indiana Wesleyan, I mean, those are your top-tier teams, and Taylor's always good. So just what's it like as a player to compete in the Crossroads League? Because you have to know that every single night you have to have your A game, because any team can beat anyone on a given night.
That's very true. There were many games where we played like Indiana Wesleyan, and even just some games where we felt like we were coming back and coming at them at the same intensity that they were giving us. And I just thought that was really cool to be able to compete at that level and feel like you're competing at a high level. Like you compare D1, D2, NAIA. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say that many are that different when you're competing at such a high level.
We also take a look at this team, and, as you're a sophomore, of course, Maya's also a sophomore, and then Nyla's a junior. So a team that definitely has a core group of sophomores and juniors, and still a couple seniors, with Haley Shipp, and then, of course, as well as Katie Kinker. So when it comes to some of the players that you think have really kind of taken you under their wing or have kind of helped teach you both the game and then even just life lessons in general, who are a couple players that have really helped you grow as a basketball player and as a person?
I mean, definitely watching how Nyla plays is really inspiring just because she's super fast and handles the ball well. And that was really cool because she was a sophomore as I was coming in as a freshman, just seeing how she led the team like with points in that way. And then also Kara Cutler, who graduated last year. She was just there for the season, but she really took us under our wing, just caring for us girls, just in an emotional and like supportive way. So that was really cool.
And then we take a look at some of the other members of the women's basketball staff, and of course, Brandon Ocker. An interesting situation for him because now he actually has one more year than Coach Pulsgrove as a coach. But just tell us a little bit about Coach Ocker and what he's done to help the team. As you know, transitioning from one coach to another is never an easy thing for a player, but it seems like that Coach Pulsgrove likes the work that he's doing.
I think just having Coach B, who's behind the camera right now, just being here was really helpful because it was just kind of like that constant as you went from like old coach to new coach. You still had that consistent coach who was there, who's encouraging you, who knows all the players, who can kind of like help the coach know like the ins and outs of all of us because we all have our strengths and weaknesses, which he already knew, and he's kind of able to help implement into the new coach's coaching style. And then
I always say, you have personal goals for yourself, whether it's to maybe achieve a Player of the Week, or maybe it's just to score more or average more rebounds or points. And then, of course, there are those team goals as well. So at the end of the season, what does Abby Williams want to accomplish, whether for you or whether even just for a Pilots team? Brand new coach, brand new system with everything, but what is the biggest thing that Abby Williams wants to take away in her sophomore year with the Bethel Pilots?
My goal has always been the same. My focus has always been on God, and so my favorite verse, like Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, is working for the Lord, not for men. So that means whatever I do, I'm giving it to the Lord. I'm doing my very best, and usually that shows out on the floor. It doesn't have to be in my points or rebounds, but just in being an efficient player and being a good team player, which is my goal this year, and just keeping the team together as one, to play together as a team again this year.
Once again, Abby Williams, a sophomore from Michigan, joining us here on Bethel Women's Basketball Media Day here inside the Gates Gymnasium on the campus of Bethel University. We're going to take another quick timeout and we'll come back, but don't you leave anywhere, folks, as we got more coming up right here on the Regional Radio Sports Network.